Welcome to episode number 6 or 7, 8. I can't remember. Lost track of Practical EdTech Live. It is Friday, September 13th, 2019. Thanks for joining me this week. And as I do every week now, I'm going to share some highlights from the world of educational technology from the last week and answer a bunch of questions from readers and viewers and listeners like you. So let's go ahead and get started with some news and notes, highlights from the last week in the world of educational technology. First up, from the world of shameless commerce, the Practical EdTech podcast is now available on Apple Podcasts, aka iTunes, or what we used to call iTunes, and people still call iTunes, but it's really called Apple Podcasts if you ask Apple now. Anyway, the Practical EdTech podcast is now available on Apple devices, as well as Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, a whole bunch of other places as well. But the big news, it's available on Apple Podcasts. Also, from the world of Apple, they had this big, huge event on Tuesday, and there wasn't anything noteworthy for educators to come away with, unless you count that the updated version of the iPad, the next version is going to come out. It's going to be the same price, $329, and will work with an Apple Pencil. Yay. Apple Pencil, by the way, is still $100. And if you want to get the current generation of the iPad, that's soon to be the old generation of the iPad, they're on sale on Amazon right now for $249. So there's that. Oh, and there's new colors for iPhones. Yippee! And the stock price for Apple jumped 3% on Wednesday following the big Tuesday announcement, but as of Friday afternoon, it's back down a few points again. So that's the world of Apple. In the world of Google stuff, Google Docs now has a little word count while you type feature. You can find that in the Tools drop-down menu. Same menu where you'll also find the relatively new Compare Documents feature. And a couple other quick little one other Google thing. Google Expeditions, as announced yesterday, now lets you share links to specific scenes, which I think is kind of cool. Rather than having to take your students through an entire tour to get them to a particular scene within that tour, you can give them a link and make them jump directly to any part within a Google Expedition VR tour. So that's kind of convenient. You can post that link in Google Classroom. So if your students are using Google Classroom on the mobile device that they're going to use for Expeditions, it's really handy. They can jump, boom, right into that scene from Google Cardboard. So that's cool. Or, of course, you can make a QR code for it, or any other way that you normally share a link. If you're looking for some ways to use your Google Cardboard viewers besides Google Expeditions, by the way, check out National Geographic's YouTube channel. They have a playlist of 360 videos that are really pretty cool. Great way to take advantage of that VR viewer that you already have and really get an immersive experience with a 360 video. Great little tool. Check it out at National Geographic's YouTube channel. Just scroll down. It's like probably 5 or 6 playlists down. Great playlist. And the last little thing I'm going to share in the world of updates, Glide Apps, which is probably my favorite new tool for 2019. You find it at glideapps.com. You've probably heard me mention it on previous episodes. They now have a feature to let you create templates for your apps so you can share those templates with students and colleagues. So if you make an app with Glide Apps and you think the framework you used is really solid and you want other people to use it, you can now make a template of it and share that template. So, and it's really easy to find that template feature. It's right in the same place you would share your app otherwise. And for those who have not seen Glide yet, glideapps.com, it's a free tool that lets you take a Google spreadsheet and turn it into a mobile app. Really, really cool tool. And it's free. So that's great. Now, one other thing I want to share that's not necessarily a world of ed tech thing, but it is a world of free technology for teachers, practical ed tech, Richard Byrne thing. I am going to announce now that I am going back into a classroom full time starting in about a week and a half from now. I'm going to be a computer science teacher at a technical school near me, technical high school near me. A good friend of mine became the director of the school this past summer and was looking for a new computer science teacher and gave me a call, seeing if I'd be interested. And I said, yeah, I am. I was looking for a change, not to look a gift horse in the mouth, but I've been writing a lot of blog posts for a lot of years, and I'm looking forward to focusing on being more focused on my students in the classroom than I am on the blog for a little while. That's not going to change a whole lot for those of you who are watching or listening or reading Free Tech for Teachers. Still going to do that, just may not have quite as many blog posts. And I will be putting a little more effort into some computer science stuff as opposed to just general ed tech stuff. Now, there is going to be one other change coming to Free Tech for Teachers regarding the mailing list, but I'll have more information for you about that next week. I'll reveal that next week. All right. So, getting into the questions from readers, viewers, listeners like you. First one comes from David, and David asked me. He said, "I was watching you." Let me read it verbatim here from David. Hi, my name is David. I was watching your Google Classroom registration video. Thank you for that. It was very helpful. In the video, I noticed you used a mouse tool that had a circle around the mouse and made an effect each time you clicked on something. Is that a specific program or feature that is available for download or purchase? I would love to utilize it. It was very effective. I appreciate your time, and thank you again for all the resources you provide teachers. Sincerely, David. Well, it's my pleasure, David. The tool that I use for almost every video you see on my YouTube channel is Screencast-O-Matic. You'll find it at screencast-o-matic.com. I use the pro version of it, the paid version of it. They cost $18 a year or $1.50 a month. So well worth it. You get a lot of great features out of it, including that mouse highlighter, that cursor highlighter. You can crop things. There's some editing features like being able to crop your webcam or crop part of the screen out. You can do labeling in it. You can do background music. You can even use a green screen feature. They do have a green screen feature. I will say the green screen feature is not as good as you'll find in other tools that are made specifically for green screen, but it's still good. So Screencast-O-Matic is the short answer to that question. They are automated. So the daily email from freetechforteachers.com are automated based on the RSS feed. So anytime I publish a blog post, it gets pushed into the RSS feed, and then it gets pushed out through my mailing service, which is ConvertKit, convertkit.com. If your school blocks access to convertkit.com or filters them as spam or flags them as marketing, you're probably not going to see them. So I haven't stopped them, but some schools flag them. Speaking of which, I got a lovely with sarcasm, email from someone whose name I will not share in the podcast or the live video, telling me that I should not use ConvertKit because people use it for malicious reasons, which could be said for any email program. You could make that same argument for Gmail. Don't use Gmail because people use Gmail to try to spoof and to try to send out malicious things. You could, say that for MSN or Hotmail or Yahoo or MailChimp or FeedBlitz, FeedBurner. Any email program has been used by somebody somewhere for a malicious purpose. Don't tell me not to use ConvertKit because some people use it for malicious purposes. Same could be said for anything. So moving on, I have an email here from Helder who asked, I have a template of a Google Doc with tables linked to Google Sheets. I have to distribute them to 100 teachers so that they can enter some data and do a report. The problem is when I copy them, the tables are linked to the template, and to change the link, I can only do it by deleting the tables and copying them again. So doing this 100 times, 10 times a year is a lot of work. Do you know any workaround? My suggestion, if you're sharing this with colleagues, and it sounds like you're in a G Suite school, create a Google Classroom for your colleagues that you're going to share things with, share things in for your colleagues. That way you can create your template, and then when you go to share it as an assignment in Google Classroom, and use the option for every student gets their own copy. And that way you don't have to do all this manual work. You can just have an individualized copy for each person. So that's what I would try. All right. And of course, if you're here for the live session, feel free to drop in any question, comment, or concern in the live chat. This question came from Vern, who asked me, I'm sure you're crazy busy at this start of the school year, but just in case you have a minute, I'm trying to get the pause prompts in ClassHook to work while the video is playing full screen. I love ClassHook, by the way. ClassHook.com, great place to find video clips to use in your classroom. Anyway, Vern goes on. I've tried disabling pop-up blocking using different browsers and more, but in full screen mode, the video just stops, doesn't display the question. When I hit escape and go back to the regular mode, the question is showing, but never in full screen. Any ideas? Yeah, so Vern brought up an issue that I had not experienced with ClassHook before. So I went and tried it myself, and I had the exact same issue. In full screen, the pause prompt questions were not displaying. In regular screen, they displayed just fine. So my response to Vern was short-term fix is just to enlarge the browser itself, magnify that browser itself. Control plus or command plus on your keyboard and blow up that part of the browser. So while it's not truly full screen, it is going to make those pause prompt questions a little bit bigger. In the longer run, I have reached out to ClassHook to know if they have a solution for this problem, or if they're even aware of the problem. All right. Question came from a Twitter user, Mrs. Ferguson, who reached out to me and said, I hope you can help me. I need some help using Google Slides. You know how to change the orientation of the slides from landscape to portrait. I know it sounds easy enough, but I can't seem to figure it out. Thank you. Yeah, so here's what you can do. In fact, I made a video about it earlier today in response to this question. Go into the File drop-down menu and select Page Setup. From Page Setup, you can then choose Custom Dimensions or Custom Aspect Ratio. And you can just play with those custom aspect ratios until you get it into portrait mode. I did, in the demo video that I did a 10 by 7.5, and that put it into portrait mode. Okay. So you can find that in the File drop-down menu under Page Setup in Google Slides. All right, and the last question that I have here came from Isabel, who says, she has two questions actually. I have a question about Glide. How can we put our own photos online in order to use them for this app? You said that these photos should already be somewhere online, but sometimes we would like to use our own, for example, when creating a tourist guide about things they have not yet been shown. What do you suggest? I'd put them on Flickr, create a Flickr album, and link them from your Flickr account. You can do it with you can use PhotoBucket. Any online hosting service should work for you, but I would try using Flickr. You can also drag pictures from your desktop into the spreadsheet and into your app in Glide, so you can try doing that as well. But the more reliable hosting would be to use a Flickr account. And I should say, if you use Flickr and the end user of your app is trying to view something on a school network that blocks Flickr, the picture will be blocked as well. Okay. All right. The other question that Isabel sent me was, I love this video creator app Share-alike, but I would also like to add some subtitles on the photos. Do you know a user-friendly app that which would enable me to do it? So what I would do is, rather than trying to bring in another app, just put the pictures into something like Google Slides, full screen in Google Slides, or full slide in Google Slides, and write your subtitles or captions right at the bottom of the photo. Just use the text editor, and then download those slides as PNG files. Probably the quickest way to do it. Or you could do PowerPoint or something like that. Probably the quickest way to do it, rather than trying to use yet another app for it. Put it right there in the photos. So that's that. All right. Now, as always, I'm going to share these show notes as a Google Doc link in the chat for the YouTube viewers, and also in the description of the podcast for podcast listeners. And again, tune in next week for an announcement about the future of the Free Technology for Teachers email list, daily emails. I'll have an announcement about that. And I'll have one other interesting announcement. And coming up over the weekend, I'm going to be publishing a podcast I recorded with Dr. Beth Holland. It's a really interesting podcast. I think you're going to like it. We talked about digital equity and stand-up paddleboard racing. So if you have an interest in either one of those, it's going to be a good, fun podcast to listen to. Beth and I always have a great time talking with each other, and the podcast was no exception. So check that out. It'll be coming up over the weekend. And speaking of weekend, have a great one, everyone. See you later. Bye-bye.